Hello, 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 and welcome back to the best colleges list. This is my catalog of profiling the colleges that I wholeheartedly endorse for different reasons. I'm Shereem Herndon-Brown. If you've not been here before, welcome. Forgive my hoarse voice. I was screaming at my television. Uh, Enjoy about the University of Maryland in their very, very emotional March 2025. I don't know when you're watching this. Men's college basketball March Madness. The Derek Queen, excuse me, hit a buzzer beater off the glass, and I said, you know what? Let me profile University of Maryland because Maryland is where I currently live. I'm not from Maryland, but I pay taxes too. So let's talk about Maryland. All right. So the University of Maryland, College Park. Maryland has several campuses: Baltimore County, Eastern Shore. But we're going to talk about the University of Maryland at College Park today. It's a large public state school, 30,000 people. Very selective, 45% admit rate. It is not cheap, but again, it is not a private institution that is much more than $60,000. So I like Maryland for myself because I pay taxes here. Anytime that we profile schools, we always talk about the academics, we talk about the acceptance rates, we talk about the activities, we talk about the admissions requirements. So, acceptance rates, student applied versus student admitted, students enrolled. So, again, very, very pretty even split gender balance, which I like a lot. Standardized testing. Here are some of the numbers that when anytime that you're in a purple, you're in the 50th percentile range of acceptance. So I think that's pretty interesting. I don't give a lot of stock into GPAs here because I do think a lot of different schools have different ways to evaluate students and then grade them, and then that can include grade inflation. But University of Maryland does have some rigorous standardized testing expectations. At the time of this recording, they are not required for admission. It is test optional, but as a big public state school, I do believe that that will be reinstituted sooner rather than later. I would love to be wrong. Okay, they need an essay. They do consider class rank. They do not consider demonstrated interest. They do not consider legacy. Maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. Um, but I always want to show you graduation rates within 4 years. I like that. Retention rate, students are happy. They usually come back, not a lot of attrition. Cost, 6% of need fully met. Interesting. That's a little disappointing, but it is what it is what it is. Average need met, 68%. Undergraduates receiving 35%. So again, I do think that as a state school, they probably parents find this their price manageable for in-state students, but having only 6% of their need fully met is a little disappointing. So a lot of different numbers about Maryland. I don't want to go through everything and bore you to death because I can, but they do have web information on their website about their financial aid process, so you can always go there. I don't want to spend too much time here, but please always go to a school's net price calculator, and that will give you my financial aid account. Yes, they give you tons of information on how to afford best public colleges in the 2018, it's about almost 10 years ago. But I do think they give a lot of good information. Coming back to my primary research source is Custom College Plan or College Planner Pro, which is an exclusive tool for independent consultants like myself. Um, I always want to show you the academics. So let's look at the academic programs. Again, large public university, a variety of schools in the large public university. So majors, business majors, and whether it's in accounting or business administration, communication and journalism. Obviously, its proximity to Washington, D.C. means a lot. I think it's not even 30 minutes, maybe, from College Park, College Park, excuse me, to downtown DC. So again, a lot of opportunities, great state education arts program, and then obviously offering master's programs. So I think that's extremely interesting. So again, academics, and is always number one. I show you the FIS guide because it can not just give you an overview of information that could be important to you. Let me move my face, but can also show you some of their strongest programs as well as schools that they overlap with: Penn State, Michigan, Delaware, Baltimore County, Ohio State, GW, Virginia Tech. All right, so very, very important. 78% of graduates are Maryland natives, while New York, New Jersey are well represented. I like that. Excuse me. So great information, a wealth of information for you to consider as you're thinking about the University of Maryland. So we looked at academics. Now we're going to actually go to their website and look at what they offer for their activities. So anytime you're looking at a school, you always want to look at the academics, because that's why students are going there. Look at the activities because you want to know what there's to do. You want to look at the admissions requirements, which we looked at, and the acceptance rates. So student life is where you can get a lot of information about the activities, what's going on in and around campus, housing and dining, athletics and recreation, student organizations, the arts. Again, very, very vibrant is the word I would use, college campus. So I think there's an opportunity to do a deep dive into what Maryland offers. So please find yourself on their website. I'm a big believer that, the pandemic got admissions virtual tours right. So you can do a great virtual tours on the admissions page, and it will give you a wealth of information about how Maryland conducts admissions process. Again, we go back to financial aid. They give a lot of information, graduate admissions, but always, always, always learn as much as you can from their website. You can visit, do an on-campus visit at the University of Maryland, and then they should have some virtual tours, group tours. But yes, explore campus now with UVisit, which is a subset of YouTube, and or they do a really good job of giving online tours. So again, gorgeous campus, College Park, Maryland. I endorse because I pay taxes here, and my son has friends that go there. Yes, they have a ton of research, the arts. Where was that? Student life. We looked at the arts. So again, it's in the Big Ten. So again, if your child is looking for a school that has that rah-rah that competes against Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Wisconsin, now UCLA and Oregon, Illinois, that Northwestern, it's a great school for that. So academics, admissions requirements, activities, and then acceptance rates, which we looked at here. And I wanted to make sure that you're always aware that there is always, you can Google, right, so about a 45% admit rate. I wouldn't call that very selective. I think that's a fair number, but it is selective. They're not just taking any warm body, but they're making sure that students are prepared for their, academic program and will take advantage of the different things that they offer being outside of Metro DC. Common data set. If you've been here before, you know that I always like to show families how to download a lot of information about the common data set, which is an opportunity for you to really get an idea of how their numbers, what they do with their numbers, their application. This is ugly format. But the common data set normally shows, if it is able to be opened, forgive me. Yes, a wealth of information about how Maryland, their admissions information, how they allocate some of their resources and funds. I always encourage families to study the common data set around admissions, particularly because it'll help you to see if it's a good fit for you, if you're able to kind of do a deep dive. Maybe at a later date, I'll do a deep dive of what I look for in a common data set, but I do think it's an opportunity for any college for you to be able to definitions of the common data set. This is good information. Again, I don't really like the format in the spreadsheet, but I do think that University of Maryland is being transparent with their information, and that is always a plus. So all that said, I am a fan of Maryland. There we go. And I want to make sure that you as a family consider it. If you're considering other large public university, if you're a Maryland resident, of course you're familiar with it. Any college that you want profiled for their academics, for their activities, for their admissions requirements and acceptance rates, please, you can DM me. I'm happy to do it. We have a huge catalog. I call it the Best College List catalog, in the hopes that I can share information about different schools, give you my perspective. I visited, literally put my feet on about 500 different college campuses around the country and looking to do more. In Maryland, I've been to many, many times. So all that said, have a great, great day. Congrats to the 2025, whether they call them Crab Five, Maryland Terrapins men's basketball team, women's team. I know you're still alive too. And if you have any information, if you want any more help regarding different colleges, please look us up at Strategic Admissions Advice. Come back to our YouTube page, and we're happy to share as much information about any college that interests you that we can do. All right. Thank you. Bye.